Well, hey there, kiddo. How you doing?
Daddy, I missed you.
Daddy just got home from a long trip, but it's so good to see my little man.
Where'd you go this time, Daddy?
That don't matter, young man. What's important is that we're together.
Dad, why are you gone so much?
Well, son, it's because Daddy gets called away to work quite a bit.
Why do you have to work so far away?
It makes you sad that I'm away so much, doesn't it? Well, I tell you what, my boy. It makes me sad that I have to be away so much, too. But as strange as this may sound, me being away so much is the best thing for all of us.
Why's that?
Well, for one thing, I can't do my job here at home. The only way I can do it is when I'm far away. You see, I'm building a business in this place very far away from here called Uzbekistan, and one day, when the time is right, we're all going to move there together. You, me, your mom, and your little sister. So for the time being, your daddy needs to spend a lot of time away from home working on his business. Listen, you're really happy when I'm home, right?
Yay!
We get to do all kinds of things together. You don't even think about me being gone, do you?
No, I guess not.
Do you know what day it is?
Friday?
It sure is, but it's not just any old Friday. Today is called Good Friday.
Why do they call it that?
Good Friday is the day that we Christians remember when Jesus died.
And why is that good?
Well, that's a long story, son, but let me tell you about one man who was very sad just before Good Friday. Have you ever heard of a man named Peter?
You mean the boy that lives down the street?
No, kiddo, I mean Peter, one of Jesus' disciples.
What's a disciple?
I guess you could say it's someone who follows someone else.
Oh, so why did Peter follow Jesus?
Because when Peter met Jesus, he knew immediately that he was the Messiah that his people had been waiting a long time for.
What's a Messiah?
You ask a lot of questions, kiddo, but that's all right. A Messiah is a person who's going to save a group of people.
Save them from what?
Would you please let me tell the story?
Haha, okay, Daddy.
Anyway, Peter was Jesus' disciple for 3 whole years. Anywhere Jesus went, Peter was right by his side. Peter even got to see Jesus when he was transfigured on a mountain. Well, that's a big word I won't even try to explain. Let's just say that Peter was one of Jesus' very best friends in the whole world.
Like a BFF.
Kind of like a BFF. But even closer than that, Peter felt a love for Jesus that's more like the love a father and son feel. That's much closer than your friends, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
So the night before Jesus died, he was arrested on a bunch of false charges. Peter was with him, and he got so angry, he cut one of the soldiers' ears off.
What?
Yep, cut it clean off. Peter was a pretty emotional guy, and he didn't like that his best friend was suffering such an injustice. But before even that happened, Peter and Jesus had a private conversation. Jesus told Peter that he would deny knowing him 3 times before the night was over.
What does that mean?
It means that Peter would say he never knew Jesus when people asked him if he did.
Why would he do that?
I'll get to that in a minute, but let me continue. So Jesus told Peter he was wrong for cutting the soldier's ear off, and then he healed the soldier's ear.
Jesus healed the person that was arresting him.
Yep.
Why?
Because Jesus knew he was supposed to be arrested and then killed. This was part of his job as the Messiah.
That's a terrible job.
Certainly wasn't fun. Anyway, after Jesus was arrested, Peter became very afraid. He knew that once Jesus, his leader, had been arrested, they would want to arrest him too. He didn't want to be far from Jesus, but he didn't want anyone else to see him either. So he disguised himself. He put on rags for clothes, probably a weird hat, and waited around the town center while Jesus was going through his trial. But then a little girl, not too much older than you, saw him and said, "Hey, aren't you one of his friends?" And Peter said no.
He said no? Why did he do that when Jesus was his super close friend?
Like I said, he was afraid. And then the girl asked again, "I know I've seen you with Jesus." By now a crowd of people had gathered around, and Peter again said, "No, I don't know him." Well, the little girl wasn't having it. She persisted. "Yeah, I saw you with Jesus just earlier today." Now you remember how I said Peter was emotional? Well, he tore into that little girl. He screamed, "I don't know him," and even used some curse words. The little girl finally left him alone. But Peter knew what he had done. He had betrayed his very close friend, Jesus. And this made him really sad. Much more sad than you feel while I'm away from home. Now let's say I was getting arrested for some reason, and when people asked you, "Is this your daddy?" you said no. Not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. You'd feel pretty bad about that, wouldn't you? Well, Peter felt terrible about it. He cried and cried and cried. He felt so bad he went home. He didn't even see Jesus again before he died.
Why did Peter feel so bad? I'd do the same thing if I thought I was going to get arrested.
I guess Peter thought he had failed Jesus in his time of need, and I suppose he did. Peter wanted to die after that moment. Everything he had lived for 3 whole years was suddenly gone. People in the town were even saying Jesus was a fraud. But guess what? Jesus forgave Peter for denying him.
Jesus forgave him?
That's right. Jesus rose from the dead on Easter morning, and the first person he wanted to talk to was Peter. Jesus told Peter that every wrong thing he had done, both that night and everything else in his life, was forgiven. And you know what Peter did? He became one of the apostles of the church.
What's an apostle?
Someone who was appointed by God to be one of the pillars of the church.
I don't understand.
That's okay. I'm not sure I understand everything about it myself, but guess what? Peter's sadness that night eventually gave him strength to do some amazing things. It's possible that without going through that sadness, he wouldn't have had the strength to do his work as an apostle. So, son, next time you're feeling sad that I'm away, remember that it's perfectly fine to feel sad. It's just proof that you're human. And 2, you've got to have faith that your sadness will one day give you strength to do things you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do without it.
Dad.
Yeah, son.
Can we go to 7-Eleven? I want a taquito.
Have you listened to nothing I've said? I'm a failure as a parent.